Welcome. Thank you for coming to Kollectin's How to Thrive as a Jewelry Designer in this Digital Media Age panel that we're hosting today. We have 4 beautiful jewelry designers. Some come all the way from New York, some come from Arizona, some are local. Thank you for coming all the way and being a part of our panel. So these 4 ladies are very successful jewelry designers in our industry. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself, the brand, a little bit about who you are to get started, so a little bit of icebreaker, and then I have a series of questions I'm going to ask you, and you can take it one at a time, however you feel comfortable, and then we'll open it up to the panel, to the audience, and you guys can ask questions directed at any designer or all of them or one of them, however you feel your question is best suited for which designer. Okay, so we'll get started. So Amanda, you want to introduce yourself and your brand?
I'm Amanda with Native Gem Jewelry, based here in Los Angeles, California. I started just a few years ago. I started as a sales rep, actually. So I repped people don't know what that is probably. I was a multi-line sales rep, so I did wholesale representation for other brands. And I saw sort of a void in the marketplace. And I was working with some stores and I said, oh, I'm looking for this and look at that. I said, I know how to do this. I can make this for you. And the brand started very, very small, but I met Cassidy from Shop Bop, who's now with Kollectin. And I started working with the Bellagio and the Aria, and that's how I started my brand.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Dawn with Lucky Star Jules. We are based in Phoenix, Arizona, and I actually started my first collection when I was about 14, hustling on the playground at school. And then jewelry was reintroduced to me. By trade, I'm a children's fashion wear designer. I don't know if anybody knew that. And got back into jewelry about 14 years ago. And I'm the lead designer. I'm responsible for all of the sourcing. You can also find me packing boxes in our studio when need be. And somebody here who is super important is Jessie. She is my studio director. She's my right hand. She's my left hand. And she's often both. And I could not do this without her. It takes a team, for sure. Here you go, Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jen from Zeuner Jewelry. I started my line around 14 years ago when I made a necklace for myself. And I walked into a store in South Beach and the buyer bought it off my neck. And literally, like, within 10 days, Cameron Diaz bought it. And she requested more and we shipped them to the store. So it was a really, popular boutique. It launched my career, and that was, as far as small stores. But then, I think within 18 months, Cassidy placed a humongous order. And it was probably the loudest I've ever screamed in my life. And I myself was my own sales rep I literally emailed and I had a great idea to donate a portion of the proceeds, and she was amazing. And fast forward, now we're in a lot of big stores, Saks, Neiman's, Bergdorf Goodman, Intermix, Nordstrom's. We just launched on Friday, and I'm so happy to be here and so grateful because I think being on Shop Up and their huge online presence was a very big deal at the time. They were online only, and as we all know, that's basically a big part of probably everyone's business. But now what I'm seeing with all the bloggers and influencers, it's sort of shifted, and we sell directly a lot to the consumer from our Instagram. So I'll post something, or a blogger wears something, or a celebrity, and within minutes, people are ordering it on our site. So, hello Kollectin. It's definitely a great formula, definitely destined for success, and I'm so happy to be here.
Hi, I'm Gina from Jules Smith. I have a similar story to other ladies up on this panel. I was a fashion editor actually right when I got out of college. This was before anyone was even going on the internet. But I worked for a woman who kind of started the coupon business where you go she had an email list, she sent you a coupon, you printed the coupon out and went to the store. And it was just local, and she was kind of way ahead of her time. Her company was bought by Beauty.com, actually, a few years later. My husband and I had to relocate to the Caribbean, and I couldn't work, there was nothing to do. The Wi-Fi didn't work, it was like dial-up. But it was a really dynamic jewelry. I lived in St. Thomas, and it was a dynamic jewelry island. All the cruise ships went there. Tons of jewelers lived there. So I kind of just started cruising around downtown, met some jewelers, kind of figured out what I was doing, built a studio in my basement, started hammering jewelry. One of the bracelets I hammered ended up on Rihanna on the cover of GQ. Things started kind of going from there, and I met with Cassidy at a coffee shop in New York, and she picked up the line for Shop Bop, and that sent us on. And now fast forward a few years later, same thing, we're in Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's, Saks, Barney's. It all started with Cassidy at Shop Bop.
Yay, Cassidy.
Oh, Cassidy.
Yes, there's been many times when I wanted to give up. You know, the fashion industry is hard. Things have, you know, things change all the time. You go, you know, boutiques were the rage at one point, there's ebbs and flows, and you kind of have to adapt as a human being. I'm a mother first, an entrepreneur. So I have my family and those types of things to think about, and things change there too, so you're always getting bombarded with, you know, information and changes. And when your work is so relatively volatile, our industry, things change fast, you have to be ahead of the trends, not only as far as like your business foresight, but your designs too, so there's a lot of pressure. With me, I'm the owner of the company, but I'm also the creative. So not only do I have to understand what's happening in the industry with business trends and market trends, I have to understand what's happening on the creative side, design trends. So yes, I thought about giving up a lot, but ultimately I think all of us sitting up here are sitting here because we love what we do. We're creative people, we love designing, we love making, for me, one of my huge philosophies of my company is like beautification and making women feel beautiful. And you can be beautiful on the inside and the outside, we just help with the outside part. And we hope that the confidence that you get from wearing our jewelry makes you feel beautiful on the inside. So ultimately, I go back to that, in that, although I work in the superficial industry, I am doing something good for people by making them feel good about themselves.
The first time I wanted to give up was, I was physically exhausted. I used to make all the jewelry by myself. We did not have a dining room for 3 years. Everything was made from the dining room. I would go to sleep at 3 in the morning. Sleep was not even important. I just 24/7 making jewelry. And I remember one night at 2 in the morning, I looked at my husband and I'm like, I can't even see anymore. Like, I'm just exhausted. I can't see, I'm tired. And the next day I was talking about it with my husband, and I was sitting down, like the conversation continued, and my son, who I started working when he was 2, he may have been 3.5, heard me saying that I couldn't see, and he went into his room and he got a flashlight and he stood next to me while I made jewelry and just held the, you know, he lit up the table. And that made me realize, you know, the kids like seeing their moms work. They like seeing, you know, it's inspiring for kids to see dreams come true, working hard and not giving up even when you're exhausted. So that was, the first one was physical exhaustion. And other times when I wanted to give up is when I feel negative energy. Like when people call you and they're like, oh, did you know this person's copying you, and so, or this store, it just, so you basically have to just stay really centered and really focused and always remember what really intrinsically motivates you, and sort of tune out all the negativity. And I think that goes for any business because it's draining. And you know, when someone says to me, oh, your friend's copying you, can you believe it, blah, blah, I don't want to hear it. That doesn't make me work harder. It doesn't I just don't even want to hear it. So sometimes when you sense negativity, that makes me want to, and you know, and sometimes you have a bad season and stores want to send, you know, whatever. But it's, you know, not every, it's sort of a little bit of a roller coaster, hopefully a lot more highs than lows, but you just have to hang in there and remember what keeps you motivated.
100%.
Right?
I have very similar stories. I remember I had gone to a trade show in Las Vegas, and first and foremost, I want to say being creative, wow, I don't think any of us sitting here realize the business aspect of this creative industry that we thought we were getting ourselves into. We came back, I had to come back from Vegas, drive back, my husband came to get me. We had about 3,300 necklaces that we made by hand for anthropology. And we put tags on all of these items. And we were told by a new intern at the company that we did not need the secondary tag on the boxes. Boxes were packed. I think there was 10 per box. You could do the math with 3,000 necklaces, how many boxes there were, 3 per carton. It was insane. Anyway, we were told the last minute, when they were already being loaded onto the FedEx truck that day, that we needed the secondary tag on them. No joke. We drove 6 hours, exhausted from preparing for the whole show. Literally had to take every single necklace out of the entire box. Anyway, needless to say, we got it done, but it was one of those moments where I thought, I don't know if I could ever do this again. You could probably attest to that. There's many sleepless nights. I also have children, and it's hard. It's really hard. But at the end of the day, I think none of us in our DNA have it in us to give up. We just keep forging forward. I've learned how to delegate. We can't do everything. So that was one of the moments where I thought I was done.
That is tough.
It's physically, yes, it's very hard.
Oh,
Yes,
gosh.
yeah. So anyway, I'll pass it on to you, Amanda.
I admire all of you guys for sharing these stories. I can relate to every single one of you. I'm like, wow, your packing story. I had a very similar packing story with tape. And I was like, wow, like, I can't believe I'm dealing with...
Specific tape.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Specific tape. And I remember thinking to myself, because I don't have these conversations with other designers, I'm like, this only happens to me. This is the stuff that only happens to me.
No,
No, it doesn't happen to anyone else but me. So now I'm like feeling like, oh, okay. I feel a lot better. And I actually really appreciate your comment about the negativity, because it really, I feel like sometimes sitting in my office, all I hear is negativity, and then my reps get all the positivity, and then every once in a while you get one positive thing. I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. But I think for me, this year was a really big change. We decided to go with some new factory, and it was something that we needed to do. It was necessary for the business to change. When you're scooting along the same direction and certain challenges that you have aren't being assessed, you have to, and doing that was so challenging because, you know, obviously you have certain types of stones that you use and certain types of metals in your designs, and it's taken like 8 months to actually properly do the shift. That's probably what made me want to give up the most, is like, okay, are we even going to be able to have a line? Like, is this going to even happen? But I know that it ultimately, like, this is what's going to be like a game changer for me. So yeah, I know for me, like, our outreach is so much broader. Like, I never imagined being able to like actually see, you know, what other people think of the brand and actually get to see it on my phone and be like, oh wow, like this is so cool. Like, there's all these people that actually know about us, and the fact that I can reach people all over the world, like I wouldn't be able to do that before. Like, I feel like you guys have all been doing this a little bit longer than I have. Coming from the rep world, like we were still faxing people when I started, and it was still so all dial up. And, you know, so I never really I only know really the digital world as a designer. So I can only imagine though, prior to that, like, how do you know, like, if you're really affecting people? How do you know? Well, you know it right now instantaneously. You can see people wearing your stuff. You can see the influencer effect, and you're like, wow, okay. And people make comments. They say, oh, I want you to design more of this. And it gives you, and they love to leave you feedback and email you. It's pretty neat to get that direct contact.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. There's definitely a lot of feedbacks.
Yeah, a lot. And some of it you're like, are you kidding? It's pretty funny. Like, so you have to kind of weave through it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's absolutely crazy. I'm fairly new to the social media world. I'm like, I don't know, Instagram, and I'm fine with Facebook, you know. Come on, Dawn, you got to do my daughter here. This is Mia. Mom, you've got to do Instagram. And it's actually crazy. I run our Instagram account, and so I understand firsthand how crucial social media is, especially for right now, Instagram. And in a nanosecond, I mean, you post a picture of a lifestyle that somebody connects with. They have to relate with the image. And literally, you get the formula right. You're showing someone wearing your piece. And literally within seconds, you're getting direct messages. You're getting orders. It's insane. They could buy it right there. They don't even need to go to a retailer anymore. It's insane, truly. We've seen our Instagram numbers grow. It's interesting to see what type of feed your consumer is looking for. We've had to tweak that a little bit, and you learn. But with the influence of bloggers and influencers, it's just really unbelievable. So,
What is your most effective social media channel for you? Is it Instagram, Facebook,
I would
bloggers, influencers?
I would probably have to say, hands down for us, it would be Instagram.
That's pretty much the answer.
Yeah.
I would say
Is that
Instagram.
for
I
you,
don't.
Jennifer?
Yeah,
Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I run my own Instagram also.
you do as well.
Yeah, I do too.
People ask me all the time, is it your voice on Instagram? Is that, and I think people want my voice. They want to
I
see,
agree.
Someone wants even, now there's also a direct message, and I try to answer all those direct messages. Sometimes it's hard. But, people will say, oh my goodness, that little post of your daughter not letting you leave the house to go to work made me feel so good because my daughter does the same thing. And by the way, that necklace that you were wearing, when is it going to be back in stock? So it's, it's really nice. It's a really personal connection that you have with your customers. And also, it's really interesting because I'm finding that for our brand, bloggers are more influential than celebrities. Like I could have like Beyonce wear a necklace, and then recently I had a blogger wear a necklace, and we had thousands of people at our site at the same time. And I was like, because I went on Google Analytics. You can also go on Google Analytics. You can see exactly who's on your site, what page, everything. You know exactly what what's attracting people to your site. And I was like, what is going on? There's thousands of people on her site, and sure enough, a blogger, not even on her, it was just on her stories, was talking about the line. She wore the same necklace that Beyonce wore, and she sold tons, hundreds and hundreds. And, because basically when I'm posting Beyonce, it's me posting that Beyonce, Rihanna, whoever is wearing my jewelry. But when it comes from the blogger, I think people really trust these bloggers. If they're sincere and it doesn't come out like they're trying to sell, like it's a hard sell, if it's a sincere endorsement, it's the most valuable sales tool for us right now. And I've never paid a blogger. I was telling Cassidy yesterday, I've never paid a blogger to wear my jewelry. They reach out to us, and so it ends up being a really sincere endorsement.
I would say when we discovered social media, which we were also like a little bit late to the game, it pretty much changed our business. We were able to cut a lot of overhead that we were outsourcing from agencies and things like that because we could control our own public relations destiny. We rely on Instagram. 90% of my web traffic or web sales come from Instagram. We rely on it heavily for our direct-to-consumer portion of our business, which is a growing portion, and it's growing every day because we've kind of figured out the formula for Instagram. We send to bloggers, we send to influencers. I was telling Cassidy earlier, like the micro-influencer portion of our business is a huge undertaking. We have a person who basically just does that full-time. All we do is send product to micro-influencers. We don't pay anybody, but we do give them product. Most of them come to us saying, I'll wear this. We just are starting to roll out our own affiliate program where we give them a discount code and they post it, or, whether or not they want to do that, we just kind of offer that to them. We advertise on Facebook. we kind of missed the Facebook wave. We never really did that. We post press and more editorial and those types of things on Facebook, but the organic nature of Instagram is amazing. It really allows, you're constantly evolving as a brand. You have to keep up with the industry, and Instagram really gives you a voice to do that. And I feel like establishing a brand identity and a brand voice, I've always struggled with, because I'm always trying to like change for all these different people that are asking me to do different things, whereas Instagram has allowed me to really like focus on my identity and get my identity out there, and people really know who we are as a brand. And I think that's the reason we've been growing so quickly over the past year or so since we even started Instagram, is that people feel like they can connect with us. You know, they hear me, like you said, they hear me talking, they see my kids, they see my husband, they see our office. You know, it's really a huge part of our business strategy going forward, Instagram.
So would all 4 designers agree that Instagram is your biggest
By far.
digital media channel to distribute your products?
Yeah.
Okay.
And IGTV now is giving me kind of a stroke,
Oh,
because
Yeah.
I feel like I have to like do this.
Right.
that's like
video.
one more thing. Let's just add it to
Same.
the list. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no.
But I think IGTV is going to be big.
Yeah.
That's like my sense.
And I think we all,
lot of
just to interject, I think all of us have all found that showing pictures of our kids, showing that, you know, your daughter wasn't letting me leave the house. I'll post a picture with the dog licking my face, but yet I'm wearing my new star necklace. And I've had professionals go, why are you showing a picture of the dog licking your face on Instagram? Don't you want to use a blogger? And I'm like, you know how many necklaces I've sold from this? People want to relate to real people.
And they
they
don't
know
want to
that
see
we're
a hard sale.
Exactly.
They want you to be yourself, and then they'll let you know, oh,
Yeah.
I like that necklace. Can
And it
you-
was truly a picture. I mean, I could have tried 100 times to get this necklace just right, you know, if I were shooting it professionally. And it was just so candid. And I think people relate to real life.
I agree.
We're real people who have lives and families. And
I'll post like on the stories, I'll post like a picture of me with my mask, like my green mask on my face. And then you see my little necklace, and people will like, you know, comment, ooh, what mask are you wearing? Glam Glow. Oh, I love Glam Glow. And the necklace. Well, like, you just want to appear, and I mean, it's not like intentional. I am sincere, and that's who I am. But you never want to appear like you're selling all the time. You're just living your life. You happen to be wearing great jewelry, so you know, and it's cool to show that you're not always carrying a Chanel bag. Sometimes, you know, I'll carry a great bag and people will be like, where's that from? And I'll say, oh my God, I got it for like $3 at the market, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And people like that. People want to see the high and the low, the mix, the reality, real world.
Okay. So how do you 4 ladies balance the whole on your phone, mobile,
Very
posting,
hard.
digital
Big
life
challenge.
with your, you know, regular life?
still learning.
Yeah, it's very hard.
It's a work in progress.
I work from my phone. I hardly go on the computer anymore. I'm on my phone.
Same.
I have the kids, so I work a lot from the house.
Have
I'll work
everything
from-
labeled really well. You're
That's
like,
very
oh,
hard.
I need to post
We're
that
the same.
necklace
That's
because it goes
hard.
with that.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're the
well,
same
everything's
people, all
labeled
of
really
us.
well in Dropbox.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
That's like been a
How do you
game
organize
changer.
What is this?
Dropbox?
How do you organize your images?
Yeah.
Because as jewelry designers, we all have lots of images that we need to organize to post and also for us to style.
So if you have all of them
Yeah.
labeled, it helps a lot. If you're like, okay, wait, that so and so just wore that, but where is that in Dropbox? Well, if it's labeled, you can download it and then put it right up on your social media.
I'm not that organized.
Yeah, I
It
don't,
helps.
Do you guys have any tools or tidbits that you'd
No.
like to share?
Very disorganized.
That would be like my top thing. is
I
As
use
far
my
as-
phone more. That's the
That's
feedback
the
that I
problem.
get from
Oh.
my staff.
All right,
Oh,
we'll
no,
go
and
down
You
you
to-
don't
one of
post
us.
enough.
And that's, you know, if you think about that,
Yes.
like organization is free. So, you know, it's a Tuesday night and, you know, you're binge watching something. It's really not that hard to sit there and label your images.
That's true.
You must be
Dawn,
organized.
Do you have any tidbits to share?
I'm kind of an organized mess. So I don't, as
You don't
far
wanna
as
see my
that
office
goes.
desk, though.
On the flight on the way here, it was like a 5.5-hour flight. And I basically changed all my highlights. I had a lot of personal highlights on the top of the Instagram page, and it was all like trips and, you know, whatever, trunk shows. So I switched it all. Now I have celebrities, like spotted celebrities, spotted bloggers.
That's a great idea.
And I did one for hoops. I'm going to start doing it little by little, very little by little, because I want to do like summer layers, blah, 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 anklets. So I started doing that. So that's kind of like an organized, and then you can really shop from the highlights. So the highlights feed from the stories.
Right.
So
right.
I had all these pictures yesterday, like within like the last 24 hours of celebrities. It looked like my stories was all celebrities. But what it really was so I could transfer them to highlights, tag them in the highlights, so now they're permanently on my Instagram.
It's a
so
good
that's,
way to save your stories.
by the way, that's a
Yeah.
great. It's a great tool. I don't know if you guys are using it, but I
No,
highly recommend it. Look at my Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
On top
going
it says
to.
highlights, and you can shop from my highlights.
Oh, I haven't.
And I
done
noticed
that.
that a lot of people shop like
I've just started
pieces
to
that are
use
a little
highlights
bit
more.
older that celebrities have worn
You
that I
should do
just
that.
posted them again because I was trying to get
So smart.
and people
Like if you do
bought them
celebrity
yesterday.
and then do
I
layers.
did celebrity, I
and
did
do
influencers,
hoops.
I did hoops, exactly.
Yeah, like I love
we
that.
have all of our categories, and then we have like the same thing: layers, statement earrings, like
But I just did that, like on the flight.
yeah.
Here.
Gina,
I don't
do you
even know
have
how to do
anything
it.
else?
Yeah. I guess.
Were you asking me?
Yeah, like any organizational tidbits or
Oh, I'm, like,
tricks that you like to
Not
share.
organized at all. So I love Instagram stories because they're quick and they're easy, and you can just like swipe the filters and get it up there. We use an app called Canva. I don't know if you guys use
Oh,
that.
no,
It's
what's
like
that?
a really easy, kind of fun way to like mix pictures and put filters and make things look cool and add emojis and add
Okay.
words. It's called Canva.
Cool.
So we use that to try and spruce up our feed a little bit. My big thing is I just like posting on the stories because I like that spontaneity of it. The feed, to be 100% honest, we plan our feed out like a month in advance. It's done. It's on a board. Like, this is what's happening.
You are
If things
organized.
come up,
Yeah.
then we obviously we find out it's national, support your sister day or whatever. Those things we will do. But so we really use stories for to record our life. Like when funny things happen in the office, we record it, whatever. But the feed is much more calculated, I would say, for us.
I started with influencers a while back. The big ones, Man Repeller, We Wore What, Something Navy, like the Chiara Ferragni. And they all wore my pieces and I never paid them. And they wore them and we sold a lot and it was great. And they still, I tagged, Ami Song of Style. I tagged her yesterday because I was putting all the older pictures and she commented, I love your stuff, I need more, which was amazing to me because I'll send her more stuff. But my conflict is I don't like paying the influencers.
Yeah.
And now these big, so I'm working now with smaller influencers and it's going great. And I still We wore something maybe 6 months ago. They'll wear my stuff. It's a little bit more difficult to reach them. They got really, really big, the big ones, and they want a lot of money. And I just don't want to pay $5,000 for a post.
And sometimes I don't understand why they don't tag you.
And I don't- yes.
I have one in particular who we've worked with her a lot, and she'll be wearing a huge statement necklace, and she just won't tag me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, why?
You know what we do when
Why
it
not?
happens? It's so annoying.
To throw me
You
a
know what's
tag?
so because I've had that happen with some influencers.
It's front and center on your picture.
I have
tag
a
the damn
employee,
necklace.
I'll
your
have an
followers wanna
intern.
know.
I literally have interns. When I've had that's happened, and there's been thousands of comments, and maybe 100 people asking where's that necklace from? Where's that? So I have an intern in my office literally respond to every question. The necklace is Jennifer Zeuner. The necklace is Jennifer Zeuner.
Yeah, I was going to make a suggestion that if you can get someone to actually post it on some sort of fashion blog, you can go and make sure you get the credit for it that way, which is what which is
what we try to do.
annoying.
We do the we reply to people's messages because.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's my problem with influencers too. Is we're so generous. We give them so much. So many of them are so amazing, but it just has turned into this thing a little bit where. There's this expectation that, well, I'm going to Mexico and I'm bringing a bunch of different brands and do you want to participate? And then you're like, yes, I'll totally participate. I'll send you all the jewelry. Well, it's also going to be $4,000.
And I think it's going to hurt them in the end.
Exactly.
Is it crazy for me to think that? Because now I
I
think
think that.
legally you need to write that it's
You're
paid,
sponsored.
that this is an ad. So basically, I think it's going to end up hurting them because what people like is that sincere endorsement.
Well, that's why we've gone to micro
I agree.
influencers because they are genuine and they really most of them reach out to us. You know, they have 50,000 or less followers, or we have some with a little bit more than that, but they reach out to us like, I love Jules Smith, I want your jewelry, I'll wear it, I'll tag it, I'll share it with my friends. And so we don't really deal with the big influencers unless they ask us. We don't do any outreach to big people.
One of the Kardashians wore one of our necklaces. I guess they are influencers, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a triangle, like an angular eye. She wore it a lot, and we asked through my PR agency how much would it be to tag it. If I recall correctly, it was $100,000.
Stop.
For Kylie Jenner to tag my necklace.
Crazy.
So that's the part that is annoying.
Yeah.
I mean,
the monetization of that whole
right,
world
and
is
the fact that
ultimate
eventually
stuff.
it's not going to
Right.
be a sincere,
Yes.
Exactly.
Well,
a
it's gonna
sincere
turn into the same
endorsement. And when
thing.
everything says ad, I think they're going to have to go back
Right.
to wearing stuff. I think Man Repeller Leandra, who I worked a lot with, I think she's really good. She's very selective. Like, even though it's paid for, she will not work with a brand that she doesn't love. But people don't know that. People want to think that, she went out and bought it and loved it,
Right.
so I want to buy it also. Not she was paid $10,000 to post it. I want to wear it. No.
So Dawn, what's your experience?
Yeah, I mean,
with
that being said,
influencers?
through Jen, we have similar experiences. I mean, we had one of the bachelorettes wear our jewelry, and we were screening the episode 1,000 times, and she was one of the more popular ones, and she wore our pieces. Her best friend, who is very well known, had it loud and clear right there on her Instagram. I think I was sharing with you, Cassidy. No tag. We're like, really? Like, this is not very nice. Could you just tag the brand, please, kindly? I also, for me, I'm very passionate about what I do, and for paid endorsers, I have such a huge issue because, they're getting paid for it. Are they passionate about the product? How is it going to be worn? Where is it going to be worn? I want our customers who love our brand to be able to relate to the piece. So, all the dots need to be connected there. So
We call it legacy loyalty at my office.
yeah,
Because we pay people,
So-
and then like a month later, they've forgotten that we paid them. And we're like, where's the legacy loyalty?
Yeah,
Like, who's
so-
wearing it, and there's no loyalty.
exactly.
Well, most of our micro influencers, either they reach out to us, and I mean, there is a review process. We definitely look through their feed,
Right.
see it's engagement's a lot of it. If they have 20,000 followers, but they get 7,000. I mean, there's people that they have crazy engagement levels. It's kind of insane sometimes. Like more than 50% of their people are actually liking their pictures. How are they even seeing this? And they have hundreds. If it's fake likes or not because they have hundreds of comments.
Exactly.
So that's a big thing for us, engagement. A lot of times it's just like sincerity in the approach, just how they are when they come to us.
Yeah.
We have micros that we work with over and over and over again because they're so great, and they drive a lot of our organic traffic. We do outreach, like if we have a girl that her title is follow unfollow, and all she does, she's like, we call her follow unfollow, it's kind of a joke, but she just literally goes back and forth, following and unfollowing, figuring out like this person's right, this person's wrong, this person, and through that we get micros, and then we also reach out to people for brand collaborations, which we do a lot on Instagram as well, like mutual giveaways and things like that.
That's cool.
Great. What about you, Jen?
How do I manage it?
Yeah, or what's your criteria for?
It's really,
yeah.
again, not super organized. Well, for the bigger bloggers, it is very organized. My PR agency handles it. We're actually, right now, working on that. But for the micro, I just I was getting a lot of people reaching out to me through direct message on Instagram, and I didn't even realize until I saw like hundreds of messages. So I forwarded everything to another marketing agency that I have, not my PR, and they are taking care of it. It was, too stressful for me to handle and try to go on
It's a lot.
everything. It's a
Yes,
lot, yeah.
yeah.
But but I'm pretty strict, because if I'm gonna give product away, I just want it to be like a good. I don't just give product to anyone. It has to be someone who, I look at their feet and, I think their aesthetic is congruent with ours. Would be a great match, and like you said, like make sure that they have a lot of engagement.
So they're real.
Because it's real.
Yes,
I guess
they
engagement is
have-
the way to right?
It's
That's what
there's
I
so
do.
many factors,
Yeah.
but engagement's a big one for us.
Yeah, brand right, look right, right
Right.
engagement. Okay, Dawn. do you
I
have-
would have to say, same for me, really. Engagement is huge for us. I think that they truly have to be well, first off, let me just say that I think some of the micro-influencers may be, for us at least, better than some of the huge influencers out there, so to speak. They have to look right. They have to walk the walk. Their pictures need to be organic. It has to be real. They need to be passionate about the product. There are so many factors that go into this. And similarly to you guys, we really are very particular on who we allow to use our product. Yeah, I mean, we're always forecasting trends. Pantone colors are huge for us because in accessories, whatever clothes are out there, our customers always want to coordinate their accessories with their clothing. So it's important to be on point with your palette. Always be on point with the palette. I feel like you have your 4 or 5 key colors. But also, I think it's really important, you can look at all the runway looks, but it has to be transferable in everyday life. You can have a fringe earring that's to here on the runway, but nobody in real life is going to wear that. So to us, it's really important for us to be on trend, but also have it be realistic. We also have a core group of styles in our collection. It's our signature collection. And we look through our past performance. What is sold? What do our customers want? We could infuse some color into that, change a little bit based on whatever type of element is on trend that given season. So,
Thank
yeah,
you.
you're welcome.
Jen?
For me, I'm really gut driven. I think it was Iris Apfel that said there's really inspiration everywhere. So if your eyes are open, you will be inspired. If your mind is open, your soul is open, you'll be inspired. There's inspiration everywhere. But I'm very gut driven. So if something feels right, I just go with it. Right now, our new collection features a lot of emerald cabochons. I'm so excited that we found them at an affordable price where we can incorporate them in our line, and I'm obsessed with the bright green, and it's beautiful for fall. But I'm very gut driven, and a lot of times other designers have the same gut, and I call that collective consciousness. And I think that, right? It's it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
it is
right.
And it's a little bit weird. So that's where I don't want to fall into the negativity of this person copied you, and it's really nice
Right.
people that say that to me, very loyal friends that say that to me. They think they're doing the
Same.
best thing for me, but no, maybe she didn't copy me. Maybe we both really had the same idea. Maybe it's collective consciousness. You can't fall into that whole negative, vicious cycle.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to copy anyone.
I don't have
So,
time.
but
Yeah.
for I was in LA probably a year ago, and I was in Malibu Mart, and I walked by a vintage jewelry store, and I saw this pendant that really caught my attention. So I went inside, and it was a 1940s vintage Cartier pendant. It was super cool, and it was very vintage looking. So I took the pendant and I made it my own, which is the piece that you liked. So basically, we have that with our signature hamsa that we've been selling for 10 years. We put it on this round fan-like piece. There's a similar one there, and it's my hamsa that everyone recognizes as being the Jennifer Zeuner hamsa or the Jennifer Zeuner eye or the star on this very vintage-looking pendant. We made it modern, but it was definitely inspired by a Cartier 1940s.
Cool.
I took a picture. I sent it to my manufacturer. It took 4 manufacturers to get that fan-like piece done right. It's very difficult to make because it's a vintage piece. It's a very those machines. One of my manufacturers said they wanted to give me that machine, and I didn't want that old thing in my office. And that's the machine that I found, in a little island, and they're the ones cutting my pieces perfectly. But it took 6 months to find it, to cut it right. And then, and that created a whole very, 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 very successful line. That's probably gonna stay with our classic collection because it's been doing really well.
Gina.
So
I would say the same as Jennifer. I design more from my gut. I love jewelry. Obviously, I'm sure all these women do. I wear a ton. I'm always wanting to wear more. A lot of my friends wear a lot of jewelry, so I look to them for inspiration a lot. I definitely, love fine jewelry. I don't make fine jewelry. I don't ever want to make fine jewelry, or not at least now. But I love fine jewelry, so I go to fine jewelry a lot for inspiration. I use First Dibs. That's a website that I love, like vintage housewares and
Love it.
jewelry. So I go there a lot. But usually I just kind of, if we have a line that's working or a line that's not working, both lines, sometimes when they don't work, we'll like tweak it to make it work. Our line is very like celestial inspired, and it has been for a while. That works for us, like stars and moons, and I'm all into that, so that's really easy. We don't use a lot of color, so I'm not as aware of like what's happening in the Pantone world. We struggle with we work crystals and turquoise, and like that's it. Anything, if we go outside of that box, our customers like, we don't want that. So we use, opals, like more neutral type stones, but really we work off bigger trends like statement earrings. So then I'll go and design a bunch of statement earrings. We're more of like a category driven business. So when the statement earrings are working, that's what we're designing. And we're, our core collection kind of complements that. But we're a trend line. We're on the trend floors in all the Nordstrom doors. So it's we need this. Chain chokers, leather chokers, you gotta be on it. So you kind of just have to know, it's like a gut thing. You just have to know what's coming.
I'm all creative. I'm really all creative. My husband would disagree. He's like, no, you're so business. If not, you wouldn't be where you are. But I think I'm all creative, and then, but I'm more creative, and I hired great people to handle a lot of the other aspects. But everything, I give the final word on everything. Everyone can do whatever they want. We can buy these boxes, where we're going to wrap our jewelry. But I need to be the final, I do the final approval.
So you delegate the business.
But no one helps me with design.
Yes.
I help a little bit with everything, but I delegate it. But as far as design, no one helps me, and no one. I think they're scared. Yeah. They say to me, "Oh, they say, you should do this," because they don't want to overstep. But I am 100% creative.
100% of you're creative.
Yeah. Okay. And you never stop working.
Yes.
When you're always being inspired.
That's true. How about you, Dawn? How do you spend creative in business?
Well, I'm for sure always creative. I'm not necessarily always in the mood to be creative. Sometimes you're forced to do a project. They need stars and moons, and they need 100 of them. And you're creating stars and moons, stars and moons, stars and moons, which is huge for us. Love stars and moons. But Tuesday comes around, you don't want to do stars and moons anymore. You're always creative. I guess what I'm saying is creativity can't be forced. And it's always a balance of both, the business part of it as well as the creative aspect. But by nature, I'm definitely more creative than I am business driven, although like we talked about before, it's necessary to have a balance of both, 100%.
How about you, Amanda?
Well, my production coordinator came from Juicy, so she comes from a high level, structured environment, and I'm Miss Flighty, well, okay, we're gonna have a design meeting because I have 20 new designs and we need to spec them out and we need to get sent into our factory in the next 2 weeks, okay? So because she comes from that world, she's we sort of collaboratively sort of restructured things where I sort of do that, have the designs ready to go, and then she and I, when, I'll work on the business throughout the day, and then, in the production world, that's being done on that side, and I'll meet with her, we work together, and get it, and try to build it out. We really try to be as efficient as possible. That's really what it comes down to, because my designs will come to me at midnight, and I'll be writing them down on my phone, or putting them on a scrap paper. So I'll try to sit down, put a list together, and be ultra organized for our meetings.
Okay. How about you, Gina?
I think, like these ladies, mostly creative, but somebody has to run the business. So that's me. What I try to do is when I feel creative,
I just drop everything because it doesn't come that much when you're like really ready to go. So really, actually this just happened like a few weeks ago. I was on the phone with my operations person and I was like, I gotta go. And he was like, what? And I was like, I gotta go. And I was just like, and just like had this idea and like jotted it down, and like you just have to kind of capitalize on it because I feel like I'm most of my days bogged down with like business stuff. And when those creative like impulses come, you kind of just have to like take advantage of it. And if I'm, you know, in my yard or whatever and like something happens, I just try to write it down because I want to remember. So I just try to write it down, or I'll just like, I'm the girl at the dentist's office that just like pulls the paper out of the magazine, I'm like, and, like shoves it in my bag.
Do you guys ever get ideas in the shower?
Oh yeah.
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 Oh yeah, and then I'm like, wait, we gotta get on the phone, and like I have my like little list going, or
I number it in my mind when I'm in the shower.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, because the only way I'll remember it is if I'm like, 1 this, 2 this, 3. So then when I get out, it's like when I'm teaching my 3-year-olds.
yeah.
Pharrell came
Yeah.
up with the
Let's do
song
this.
Because I'm Happy in the shower, and I read it like in a GQ magazine. I was like, okay, I'm not alone. I guess that's
Yeah.
like a thing to get ideas while you're in the shower.
I think it's because it's like the only time when you truly can just like let go.
Well, I think
Yeah, where your mind
right.
wanders.
Yeah.
Well, you have to be out of your own head,
Yeah.
right? You have to be out. For me, it's when I run. That's why I run.
Oh, yeah, same.
So I run all the time.
I always wish that would happen to me. Exercising, like, I'm like, why aren't
That happens to me when I run.
Why aren't I being
When I'm
creative
exercising,
right now?
yeah, I'm
Doesn't
thinking
happen
about
for
When
me.
I
run?
outside,
Yeah.
yeah.
Doesn't
Well,
happen for me then.
I've had bronchitis for a while, but I haven't ran so much. But when I run, yes, I
Yes,
do get
right?
ideas.
It's crazy, and I'll go in and I'm like sweating, and I'm like, oh, I
Yeah,
have an
they have
idea.
it.
You know?
Right.
It's I don't know what it is and what
I
I, see, and
agree.
I'm very guttural as well, and it's something I'm convinced is mainly about being outside of my head, and I think that's the only time I'm outside of my head is when I'm actually out, and I have to be outdoors. So don't run on a treadmill, run outside.
I agree.
I think that's what my issue is.
Is it
Running
on
on
a
the
treadmill?
treadmill, and all I think about
Okay.
is
I
like,
run
okay,
outdoors,
just
like,
one
2
more
or 3
minute.
times a week, and
I
Right?
take out my iPhone and I start like
Yeah.
like all the ideas because you know you'll forget.
Yeah,
If you don't-
exactly.
It's like a dream
Okay.
if you don't.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
it really is. It really
I
is.
come, my outfits come together when I'm running. Like, I'm like, oh,
See?
this is what I'm gonna
Nice.
wear. Yeah. No, I didn't one. I was like, this is what I'm gonna stay, and this is like, that's what happens when I'm running.
Yeah, see?
So would you ladies agree, like what is your routine to balance that personal wellness with, you know, having the business on your mind 24/7? Because as entrepreneurs, you would know you're constantly thinking about business. Is there anything consciously that you do to maintain that well-being?
I work out a lot, and I need to.
Yeah, me too.
It's just my thing.
Okay.
Like, I'm the girl that rolls into work. Like, I take a 9 to 10 workout class almost every day.
That's awesome.
I show up at 11, and I'm proud of it. I'm working out. If you guys don't want to be around me, if I didn't work out, for me, it's a huge part of like just
Yeah.
having a moment for myself.
Yeah.
What about you?
I've
Jen?
always worked out my whole life, but I haven't worked out so much lately. I've had bronchitis, like a long, you know, drawn out bronchitis. So I haven't worked out in like 4 months, but I definitely take time to myself. I go to the beach a lot by myself. You know, I live close to the beach, and it's a beautiful beach. And sometimes I'll wake up and my kids I have 4 children, and they're not interested in going, but they all seem very happy, you know, doing arts and crafts, tennis, and I'll just go to the beach by myself and I sit. So I think it's important to reconnect with yourself and to nurture yourself, and sometimes it's working out, sometimes it's going to the beach, sometimes it's, you know, just getting a massage. I don't know, I don't get massages, but whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, like, you know,
Balance it out,
meditation, everyone says
Yeah.
meditation is like the key to, you know, long life, whatever it is, but you need to take a deep breath.
Alright. What about you, Dawn?
I need to learn how to take more time for myself, actually. Running, as I had just mentioned, is a huge thing for me. I guess my diet, 99% vegan. I find every day I take time, I leave, I go to Whole Foods or Nectar or whatever juice place is around, wherever I'm traveling, and I make sure that I get a juice. Honestly, I mean, other than my juices and running, I need to carve out a little bit more time. I'm in the desert. I wish we had a beach. I'd be at the beach right there with you. So that is actually, that's been a resolution of mine for many years, to take more time for myself, because I think you need to recharge yourself. I mean, this business is 24/7. It doesn't stop. We don't have 9 to 5 jobs. Anybody who's interested, who's in the jewelry field, I know I was talking to you there. It's crazy. It's busy. So I think it's definitely important to take time for yourself, for sure.
I think my husband would say I need to put the phone down more.
I think that Kollectin it's a great bridge between the designer and the end user, and everything that we talked about these lifestyle bloggers. You're actually seeing them. They're wearing them. They're living in. And you had shown me that cool feature where they could actually try on the earrings, which is unbelievable to me. Scale is such a huge issue. Does everybody know what I mean by that? You'll see an earring online and you think it's this small, but when you get it, it's this large. So Kollectin just developed this really cool app, which I've never seen before, which is completely unique. And their customer could actually see the size of whatever it is they're trying on. Does it work for necklaces as well?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, so for all accessories.
Yeah, we're
So-
still in development for bracelets and rings. A little bit tricky because
Right.
usually when you take a photo, you
Right.
just stick your hand and your finger in. the
Yeah,
picture.
exactly. And you have like a ring around your nose
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, so
It
anyway.
works very well for earrings and necklaces. Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
So-
And Jen?
Okay, I have to be honest, when Cassidy reached out, I was like, yes, whatever, because I'm very, I think you have to stay grateful, and she gave me my first big break, so I'm like, yes, whatever, yes. Because my sales rep reached out, and she's like, what is this? Are you sure? I'm like, yes. So we'll make it work. So, and then when I found out what it was after I said yes, which I think is really rare for me to say yes without knowing what it's about, I think it's amazing because I think that's literally the way it's going. When I first started my line, my PR agency said to me, you need to have your own website because you're getting so much press and you're sending it to Saks and you're sending it to Bloomingdale's. And I was like, no, I want my retailers to be happy. I don't need to make retail. She's like, are you crazy? Like, you need your own website. So I resisted getting my own website. The headaches, it's a lot of headaches. It's a lot of hard work. Did my website. That was like, winning the lotto. I had no idea that it was going to be like that. So then I feel like this is, the next step. This is where the future is going. By making it as easy as possible for the consumer to shop. And I don't think it'll get easier than that because you're shopping right from Instagram. So.
And Gina?
Well, it kind of takes this whole conversation like full circle because we're always looking for the next thing, like us sitting up here, like trying to figure out like how to stay ahead of it, We all get Instagram, and when Cassidy reached out, and it was the same thing, like I was like, yeah, anything from Cassidy, whatever, yes. But when I actually read the deck, which confessing, it was like a few days later, I was like, wait, what am I actually doing here? I was like, this is so cool and so innovative, and it's an amazing way, we're all working day and night to connect with influencers and connect with our consumer, and to kind of have a platform where you guys are kind of doing it for us is really cool. Another touch point with influencers is always in my book, bring it on. But then today I also have to say the technology is crazy and really, really cool, and I can't wait to have that on my phone. I can't wait to Snapchat that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I can see a lot of people just posting all other earrings that they maybe didn't even purchase and Snapchatting it, and then that'll just advertise it more and
I know,
more.
I just cannot wait to
Yeah.
play with my daughter. It's going to be like, oh
It'll be like the new game. Yeah, so cute.
We actually make everything by hand in our studio. And, we're based in Scottsdale, Arizona, with an exception of our soldered items. Those 3,000 necklaces I talked about, we were making them, my kids were making them, my husband was making them. We were making them. The penalty is a pain in the butt and expensive if you don't get them to the store in time. But we make 95%, would you say? We even hand make our tassels. So I don't have... I was a fine art major. I was not a jewelry major. It was just something I was passionate about, and whatever I'm passionate about, I kind of just dive in. And that's sort of how it happens now. We call them jewelry elves. We've got several jewelry elves that work in our studio and put together the pieces. I design everything. I don't make anything anymore, but I lay out everything, and we have them make them. They're far more efficient than I am these days. So
I made everything myself.
Yeah.
But my aesthetic was very different. I started out a lot more beaded and bohemian. So when it was beaded and bohemian, I made it, and that's why I was up till 3 in the morning every night. And then I had my like nanny making jewelry. I had everyone like that. It just got too much for me. I think I admire you because I think I just shifted the design. I fell in love with a necklace I made in New York City, and I started manufacturing in New York City. There was a lot of soldering involved. So I shifted, but a lot of the shift happened because I was making everything by hand.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't, it was a lot of beaded. My hands were all cut up and how I got that skill was at a little bead store.